Now the Passover of the Jews was at hand. Many went up from the country to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. When they sought for Jesus and spoke with one another, as they stood in the temple, "What do you think, that he isn't coming to the feast at all?" Now the chief priests and the Pharisees had commanded that if anyone knew where he was, he should report it, that they might seize him by deception and kill him. For they said, "Not during the feast, because there might be a riot of the people." 2 days before the Passover, feast of unleavened bread, Jesus came to Bethany, in the house of Lazarus, Simon the leper, who had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. So they made him a supper there. Martha served, but Lazarus was one of those who sat at the table with him. As he sat at the table, Mary came to him, having an alabaster jar. Therefore took a pound of very expensive ointment of pure nard, very precious and very costly. She broke the jar and poured it over his head as he sat at the table, anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the ointment. But when the disciples saw this, there were some who were indignant among themselves. Then Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, one of his disciples, whom would betray him, said, "Why this waste? Why wasn't this ointment sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" They grumbled against her. Now he said this, not because he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief, and having the money box, used to steal what was put into it. However, knowing this, Jesus said to them, "Leave her alone. Why do you trouble her? Because she has done a good work for me? She has kept this for the day of my burial. For you always have the poor with you, and whenever you want to, you can do them good, but you don't always have me. She has done what she could, for in pouring this ointment on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. Most certainly I tell you, wherever this good news is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be spoken of as a memorial of her." A large crowd, therefore, of the Jews learned that he was there, and they came, not for Jesus' sake only, but that they might see Lazarus also, whom he had raised from the dead. But the chief priests conspired to put Lazarus to death also, because on account of him many of the Jews went away and believed in Jesus. Then Satan entered into Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12. He went away and talked with the chief priests that he might deliver him to them, and said, "What are you willing to give me, that I should deliver him to you?" They were glad, and agreed to give him money. He consented, and they weighed out for him 30 pieces of silver. From that time he sought opportunity to betray him, and to deliver him to them in the absence of the multitude, how he might conveniently deliver him.